Hello, everyone. I will be on in a second. I'm going to play a little Candace Owens for a second.
On it, as we all suspect, and they would have gone, okay, where is that? We need to make sure we get rid of this necklace in some capacity. And the safest bet would have been to say, well, we're giving it to his widow. I want to at first briefly discuss the necklace that Charlie Kirk was wearing on September 10th. As we all know, it was a St. Michael pendant. There was much ado about this necklace, a bizarre amount of storytelling relating to the necklace, and it sort of became this fixture amongst the Turning Point USA goons. Take a listen.
And so Gigi and I stayed in our room, and that morning he woke up super early and he came into our bedroom, into the bathroom, because that's where his wedding ring was and his necklace. And he came in.
Grateful. Hello. How are you? Going to watch a couple minutes of this video. Candace is really zeroing in on the exploding microphone theory, which is really pretty messed up, and it's pretty much what we've been going with all along. First, I thought maybe he was electrocuted, but the lapel microphone, that's the thing that's made the most sense. It was either the microphone or the necklace itself. But she's been doing a deep dive on it, and now, sure enough, all the usual suspects are coming out of their wormholes attacking her. Rob McCoy, everybody. So she's over the target. It also means that when Charlie was killed, that they have him with that lapel microphone gurgling when he was dying. They have like a close-up. Somebody was talking about that. Like, this whole thing is really fucked up. It's your Friday. Well, happy Friday. I'll play a little bit of this and I'll be back on. My roommate was working outside. He sounds like he's about to die. He needs to get in a little bit better shape, that guy. Anyway, we'll play this for a second.
Came in and he grabbed that.
And his necklace had a cross on it, and it had St. Michael's medal.
Yeah, I wear it every day. It's right here.
Wow. Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And so when they finally cleared it, I got into the car and I pulled out my bag, and draped over my bag was Charlie's necklace that had a cross and medallions on it. And I had heard they were looking for that. And so cop was like, oh, we've been looking for that. I said, I got it. So I just took it.
That was actually a necklace that Erica gave Charlie when they were dating. And she said, well, you're a Christian. Why don't you wear a cross? And he said, I don't know. I'm not a jewelry guy. And something happened where he was pressed and he felt the weight of the world on him, and he put that cross on, and he never took it off again until he was assassinated, and the people caring for him ripped it off as they tried to save his life. And Erica has it on her all times now.
When we were about to leave, we finally got access to the car again. And Erica was asking for a necklace that Charlie was wearing. It's a cross necklace and had some medallions on it. And when I went into the back seat of that car, I pulled my bag out, and that necklace was attached somehow, just kind of draped over the bag. So I gave it to Mikey, and I said, Mikey, I want you to give this to Erica. It was a comfort to her.
A lot to be said there. First and foremost, why were the cops looking for the necklace? How did the cops even know that Charlie was wearing a necklace on that day? There was a theory after people started realizing how odd it was that everyone had a personal story about this necklace. There was a theory that began floating around that maybe it was the necklace that was rigged. And I would like to say categorically that I do not subscribe to that theory. I do not believe that was the case. I actually strongly discount that theory for two very simple reasons. One, that would leave things to chance. There was a chance that Charlie didn't put on his St. Michael necklace that morning. There was also a chance that while traveling in a highly pressurized cabin on a plane that morning to Salt Lake City, that something could have gone horribly wrong. Simply put, with that much planning that needed to be involved to rig something, they would not have introduced a variable that was completely out of their control. Like, I hope he wears his necklace today. And they also wouldn't have put Mikey McCoy, Blakey Neff, and the entire team that were on board that jet traveling with Charlie with an explosive. So I just completely discount that theory. It is much more likely that the reason there was focus on the necklace, the reason the feds were looking for that necklace, the reason that it was given to Erica is because, if our theory is correct, it contained explosive residue. That would have probably been the single most thing that had explosive residue on it because it was on his chest. It would be that simple. And if the feds were in on it, as we all suspect, then they would have gone, okay, where is that? We need to make sure we get rid of this necklace in some capacity.
Yeah, and remember, the only thing that gives Erica comfort are the camera in the mirror. Yeah, 100%. And the other thing to remember with, you know, if anybody thinks that the exploding microphone theory is far-fetched, you know, there's the AES building, the Accurate Energetic Systems building in Tennessee that was wiped off the face of the earth. And everybody inside of it died. And that's where they make those shaped charged devices, microphones or whatever they put them in, telephones. And everybody that went to work that day died. And they've also proven that one of the planes, it's Pete Hegseth's plane, but they don't think it was him that was on there. It was his underboss. He's the Secretary of War. It's like the Deputy Secretary of War or whatever. That guy circled around that building the day that it blew up while it was still smoldering. So this whole thing is, you know, it's not just some far-fetched conspiracy theory. There's so many things that lead to this conclusion. So many things. And the fact that they drugged that guy out like a fucking pig, like a piece of meat, and the way they did it, it makes perfect sense because, you know, they couldn't call the 911 and just have any old average paramedic take him to the hospital. They're gonna know what happened. And that if it was an exploding microphone on his chest, that means there's all those pieces of plastic and stuff that they had to conceal, that they didn't want it just falling off of him. That's why they carried him like that. You grab an arm, I'll grab a leg, you grab a leg. You know, we got to kind of keep him balanced. We got to their whole mission from Charlie, you know, when they had him on the ground to getting him to the SUV had nothing to do with saving his life. It had everything to do with covering their tracks, the way they carried him. They were making sure that those little pieces of plastic didn't fall off of him. And that's also why they covered up the crime scene. Literally, they had it paved over within a couple days so the bomb dogs couldn't sniff out those little pieces of plastic because there's no way to get them all. There's absolutely no way to pick up every little piece of plastic from a shaped charge explosion. Impossible. So a bomb dog is going to pick it up. That's why they went and covered it up and paved over it. But when you watch those guys carry Charlie to the car and knowing that that's why they carried him that way and why it was his security team with no medical bags that took him to the hospital instead of paramedics that were actually on site. They have video of them driving by paramedics with paramedic bags. Those are the people that could have saved Charlie's life. Just wild. Absolutely wild.
And the safest bet would have been to say, well, we're giving it to his widow. Now, as we unpacked yesterday, when you run this theory that Charlie's microphone was rigged, suddenly every little oddity in this story, every little oddity from September 10th onward begins to make a lot more sense. To briefly recap, we put together this graphic for you guys. The rigged mic would go a long way in terms of explaining why the bomb dogs were kept away from the scene. Okay, because they would have smelled the explosive. Why the crime scene was immediately paved over and the soil was excavated. That's because explosive residue, as we have learned, really hangs on to soil. It is highly soil absorbed. So I can show you that here. I think we have a little science article that you can look up. You can research this on your own, but it says that the low water solubility and high soil absorption of PETN in particular, if we think that is the explosive, it would be very problematic, and you would in fact need to dig out the soil. We introduced to you guys the Dan Merrill, who was the guy who was the paver who was called to come in on a Sunday. Well, actually, further on in his interview with Jimmy Rex, he describes how he was actually the second person or the second team, so to speak, that arrived. Before he even had arrived on that Sunday, just a few days later, they had sent another government team to go in and to dig out all of the soil, 8 to 10 inches of soil. Take a listen to what he said.
When I showed up, I took pictures of what it looked like. They had taken out about 10 inches of the dirt around the whole place, right? You know, right now you can see where the pavers are. Everything under that, probably 10 inches had been excavated.
Why do you think they excavated so much dirt? You think that they were trying to make sure they got any bullet fragments or anything that was in there?
I wasn't looking at it with that lens, dude.
Really?
I wasn't.
It didn't even cross your mind?
It didn't cross my mind.
Well, my answer to that would be, as I said, running this theory that it is because of high soil absorption. It is a fixture of PETN explosive. Again, another thing that just sort of would lock into place. Why the feds were searching for Charlie Kirk's necklace? The same reason, explosive residue. Why there appears to be shattered black plastic or glass all over the SUV, which transported Charlie to the hospital. That would be the road bike. That would fit in perfectly. That would make sense. Why there is no available footage or any eyewitness reports of someone seen firing a shot from the Losey building. That's a big, strange anomaly here. Why do we not have those? Yes, I saw him take a shot. Yeah, because no shot was actually taken from the Losey building. Why the feds did not conduct a standard GSR gunshot residue test when Tyler Robinson was brought in, because they knew that he would fail it. And that would not help them in court if Tyler Robinson, who they say they got after a 33-hour manhunt, 33 hours on a minute over, failed the GSR test, especially when they say he was wearing the same outfit. It would also explain why Terrell Farnsworth violated the crime scene immediately, quite boldly, to remove the SD card from that back footage, because it would have captured that the 30-06, which would have decapitated Charlie, did not go through. Also, it would explain why there was unusually no ambulance on standby. I always had an ambulance on standby at my Turning Point USA events when I toured. This is an anomaly.
And a lot of people don't know, too, that they don't realize why Candace is the one that is so qualified to do this investigation, because she was Charlie Kirk. They toured together. She was under that tent more times than anybody else. She did exactly what Charlie did. You know, that's what they did. And it was only because of, global politics and, Israel, was there a wedge created between them? It was all orchestrated. The wedge between Candace and Charlie and everything else in between leading up to his death. Candace knows exactly, where ambulances were. In fact, she even knows, she goes into detail about the microphones. They always requested the handheld microphones. I don't know if she talked about this in that video or not. Sorry, somebody's sawing outside. They always requested the handheld microphones. It wasn't, and she can even pinpoint when Charlie first started using the lapel microphone. And it would go in and out of his shirt. And she goes, it's like slowly boiling a frog. You don't realize that you're dying, that they're slowly changing things subtly, little by little. Man, she's a master at breaking this down. And she's 100% correct. I'm just going to finish it out.
Anomaly, it would answer to that would be because, well, the paramedics would have seen the shattered road mic pieces and all of the other evidence, which did not support a gunshot wound. That would be the reason why you would just have his security team transport him under this theory. Again, we're thinking while it's still illegal to do so. Lastly, it would go some way of explaining why Erica was quick to forgive Tyler Robinson before the world, quicker than she was able to forgive Drewski. when she came out weeks later looking like an assassin and saying that, she was so angry at Drewski, much more angry than she was at Tyler Robinson. So bizarre. So bizarre. Well, it's easy to forgive someone if you maybe know they didn't do anything. I could probably forgive someone who didn't do something to me either. I don't know.
Yeah, and she comes out and says, "I forgive that man." Just incredible. But yeah, it's a recipe for disaster right now, because Candace is zeroing in on the exploding microphone. I mean, the exploding microphone thing was such a big deal. Like I said, they blew that whole entire building up in Tennessee, the Acura Energetic Systems building, and killed everybody inside of it, like 16 people. And we're talking about not a brick left, literally, not one brick left from that building. If you look at the crash or the explosion where that building was, there's literally not a brick, not a piece of a brick left. Like, where did all the building go? It's just like looking at the B-52 crash the other day. Where did the plane go? Same as Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Where's the plane? We know what it looks like when there's a crash site from a 747. There's still the plane does not vaporize. There's still pieces of wreckage, but somehow when the Jewish Zionists are involved, these planes the entire thing disappears. That man is fighting for his freedom. Yeah. It's wild the way they took him out. And the crazy thing is that I really don't think that it's Israel. Why that is him turning on Israel is why he was killed. I don't know if it's the Jeffrey. I think it has to do with like Jeffrey Epstein, me personally, because that's what all these people are involved in, Erica included, in child trafficking, all of them, and most of them in Romania. So many of these people have ties to Romania and working with trafficked children. But Erica was all over. I also just watched a video from, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Remember John McAfee, the antivirus guy that, I think he's dead. Who knows what happened to that guy? McAfee, this guy. See if I can find the video. This guy was in Belize, and they raided his house. They came in and raided his house and took a bunch of stuff. And I can't remember exactly what the deal was, but he said he was prepared for it. He had given the government a whole bunch of laptops, and he had spyware on it. And so he was hoping to uncover why they raided him and who pulled the trigger on raiding his house. He was never able to uncover who did it, but he says that he found out somebody cheated on one of the politicians in Belize, cheated on their wife. He also said that the what do you call it? The defense minister, their Homeland Security guy, was sex trafficking. And I think he was sex trafficking kids, I think, is what the deal was. That's what he found out, which is probably why he was on the run, that guy. So, and so Department of Homeland Security right now is that one dude, Mark Mullen or whatever his name is. And before it was Christy Nome. Before that, it was that really creepy dude. And you just look at those people. It's like, are these people? Is that what they do? You know, are they? Is their job to cover up the global sex trafficking ring, child trafficking ring? And you know, what are they doing with all those kids? It's wild to even think about. I wish that guy would quit using that saw out there. What the fuck he's cutting? Let's see here. I only have a couple videos I didn't play today, but play a few more. Adam Schiff says that, you know, because Elon is now worth $1.4 trillion. So that's 1 trillion plus 4 billion. So everybody's saying he could give away the trillion and still be the richest guy in the world. And Adam Schiff breaks down what $1 trillion would do.
What would $1 trillion pay for? Well, $1 trillion, if we decided to distribute that equally among American households, your household would get $7,500. Every household in America could get $7,500 from that $1 trillion. It would also pay for the complete four-year college education of 7.7 million American students. So you can take all the tuition, all the room and board, all the costs of all of that for 7.5 million students and pay for it by the wealth of our first trillionaire. It costs a lot to raise kids in America. Well, you could take 4.3 million kids and raise them from birth until 18, pay for everything they need during those 18 years. What would $1 trillion pay for? Well,
I would like to take that $1 trillion and put him in jail. Him and everybody else that rips us off on a daily basis. Let's take that $1 trillion, if we have access to it, hire lawyers to prosecute these people. You know, because if they just give the money to us, they can just raise the prices and it just equals a wash for us, and they make all the money. You know, oh, it can send 7 million kids to school. Yeah, well, who gets all that money? You know, them. It's like they just figure out ways to get the money back. So we should just take that money and prosecute them and put them in jail for ripping us off. Cue the Trump and Elon pissing contest. Yep, exactly. Yep. They love to use those big numbers, you know, they throw around those big numbers like Elon has anything to do with, you know, us getting ripped off. Like Elon has anything to do with, you know, the extremely high gas prices or rent being so high. You know what I mean? They're all in it together. It's crazy. But right now, you know, we have Candace zeroing in over the target of the microphone. A lot of people don't realize how consequential that can be. You know, this is important enough to create some type of a, you know, distraction or false flag. Well, we also have at the very same time, America is turning on Israel. We all turned on Israel a long time ago. We never supported Israel in the first place. We were just kind of passive about it, hearing about it, until it got to the point where we're like, wait a minute, what the fuck is this bullshit? Why are these people telling us what to do? And they're so nasty and they're pedophiles. Fuck them. You know, once we realize that, but now I'm talking about Trump and Hillary Clinton, and everybody is now speaking out against Israel. They're saying that Benjamin Netanyahu's a little too, you know, war hungry. So why are they saying that is the question? You know what I mean? I feel like they're just doing it for psychological purposes to keep us from revolting, like all the way. And then you also have Russia being drone attacked by Ukraine like never before. So, are they ending the war in Iran and just, we're just going to just completely just pivot right into something even bigger? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. China, Ukraine, whatever. I mean, if you're going to war, you're going to war. People are going to die. That's all it is. Who cares if it's fucking Fallujah or fucking Beijing at that point? It's just going to be mass casualties for the United States. We're not, especially here. I mean, can you imagine, like, those guys in Russia think it's badass that they're getting bombed, some of them. I don't think we're equipped for that here.
Right. When I was secretary, it was a constant, theme by Netanyahu and his then government, the then defense minister, Ehud Barak, the former prime minister. It was relentless. It was a constant push. I remember.
What would he say to you?
What?
What would he say to you?
He would basically say, you need to support us in attacking Iran. And back then, this was, 2009 to the end of 2012, we had more capacity than Israel did on several fronts to do that. And so there was a constant argument that we would have. And I remember one day I was on the phone for hours with Ehud, with Bibi, with others, and they would say things like, our planes are on the tarmac. And I'd say, well, good luck. I mean, great. Why are you doing this?
Where else would planes be other than in the air?
But on the tarmac, ready to take off.
Okay.
Yes. Well, no, they'd be in the hangar, but they were on the tarmac. And you would say things.
You're saying you were being played
all the time. I mean,
by an ally that receives an enormous amount of aid.
Well, of course. And look, Bibi's been obsessed.
So there you have it. And this was just 3 days ago. And so it's nothing new. They do, this is what they do. These people are homicidal, genocidal, pedophile maniacs. I mean, it's nothing new. But Trump sold us out. He got gold rush fever and just it's wild. So much so that they're getting sloppy. Eric Trump and Daniel Cormier got caught up in that, basically exposing that things are rigged in sports betting, like we always say. I know it's rigged. All of this stuff is related.
One word to describe your next chapter. One word.
Fun.
Me.
That's what you call drop the mic.
You know what? You seem to be grading her higher on her answer.
One word to describe your next chapter.
Fun and me. Would not want to have anything to do with that relationship. Although, just for the way they carry themselves. Well, Melania carries herself just fine. But Trump, man, you're just guilty by association, dude. I think in reality, the Obamas are just as bad as Trump, but at least they, there's just a lot more class around. And at this point, I think I'd rather have that than Trump and just whatever the hell that is that he's got going with him. Could you imagine Michelle Obama as president or vice president? No, thank you. The NYPD had a parade, the New York Knicks had a parade, and the NYPD obviously is there. And it's just getting out of hand, arresting people. I think this is a student getting arrested.
Trying to get to fucking school so I can take my test.
That's some bullshit. That's fucked up. Look, but they let them through to go to school. That's crazy.
Wild, 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 wild. This just says an amazing view of Antarctica from a sailing ship, which I thought was kind of cool. Classlessness, yeah, 100. That's way cool. I want to go to Antarctica. That'd be one place that I'd like to go. It's gonna be cold as hell, but I'd love to go visit down there at some point. You want to talk about classlessness? Grateful. So we had, you know, regardless of how we feel about Michelle Obama, you know, I mean, maybe she could have been a man. Maybe she was. Maybe she was Mike Obama. You know, I mean, at this point in the game, it's totally possible. Brigitte Macron also could have been a man. I mean, the technology's there. Some of those trans people, it's hard to kind of tell. Even like, what's his name? This is so gross. That Jim Norton guy. I don't know if you've seen me play his thing, but he married a trans person. And it was a guy, and now it's a lady named Nikki. And it's kind of hard to tell that it used to be a man. And they're so gross. The name of their podcast is Sword Fight. But I don't think they do it anymore. I think they're on the rocks. Or they may not even be together anymore. I have no idea. But, yeah. And there's definitely a market for it because you hear a lot of like that Jeffree Star dude talks about, he gets hit up by athletes and stuff. And then he gets threatened. These people get threatened that they're going to get killed if they say anything. It's wild. It's a crazy, sick world out there. Oh, you just Googled the Nortons? Yes. Sword Fight. If you think about that, the name of their podcast, Sword Fight. Oh. That dude, he is just one creepy little dude. Like, I guess if there was somebody that was going to be okay with the Epstein files and what goes on that island, it would be somebody like Jim Norton. And, you know what I mean? Other than Jeffree Star, both of them. Which is why I guess they put them on the internet, if you think about it. Yeah, it is, right? Okay. Jim Norton definitely got some issues. That's just weird. But at the same time, he has class compared to Sean Strickland. So we had Josh Hockett says that Michelle Obama is a man on the microphone at the UFC 250. Okay. That's one level of being low class. This level, Sean Strickland, he just has a way of, man, this fucking guy.
What's your name, Lee Kim?
My name is Ethan.
Ethan. You got to be a stronger, better man, bro. Like, you would get fucked in prison. Like, you would get straight fucked in prison, dude.
But I got like a crazy Philly show. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah, no, dude. No, you got like, no. I want to get this China man some pussy, bro. He's 18 years old. He's a virgin. So if there's any fat women, maybe disabled, you know, maybe with a slight handicap, autistic, but not too autistic, you know. Hook my boy Ethan up. What's your name?
I mean, it's hard to top Sean Strickland when it comes to being offensive and to triggering, the widest audience is that guy, man. I don't think anybody does it better than him. He's just a disgusting pig, racist, homophobic, all the things. And then he just has his delivery is just pretty much flawless, depending on how you look at it. Boy, that guy is just fucking going to town with that saw or whatever he's doing in there. It sounds like a drill now. Putting a bookshelf up or something. All right, let's move on. A cab driver was so traumatized by his cab getting destroyed after the Knicks won. I guess they dragged him out of his car. He no longer wants to be a cab driver in New York. And so I guess maybe, I don't know if this guy's a basketball player or who he is, but French Montana gave the guy a check for $75,000.
Everybody got together and they raised up $75,000.
French Montana just surprised the New York City cab driver whose taxi was destroyed during chaotic Knicks celebrations with a $75,000 check. The money was raised through GoFundMe after the driver was dragged out of his vehicle and attacked last week.
These are the people that make the world go around. They don't bother nobody. They're out there working, minding their business.
The driver is 59-year-old Nordine Bitat.
That's funny. Grateful. It sounds like a Tulsa.
He's no longer able to work as a driver.
Oh shit! It's a drill, I think.
The car and they grabbed me out of the car by my neck. Some others were punching me on the head.
I mean, giving the guy $75,000, whatever, with the GoFundMe, cool, whatever. That does not do anything for America. You know what I mean? We need to fix these problems. It's crazy because there was an African guy that was a Spurs fan holding a sign, like a true African guy. I can't remember where he was from, what country. But he pointed out, he goes, you African Americans are animals out here. You guys are acting all wild and hateful and violent. He goes, I'm from Africa. We don't act like this, and it's not just African Americans. It's a certain mindset of people. You got a bunch of wiggers and definitely some Latinos out there and some just straight up fucking ignorant whites too. Most of them are wiggers though that are out there doing it. You don't see too many white dudes in suit and ties. You don't see any black people in suit and ties for that matter out there acting like that. But there's just too many of them to ignore it anymore. I don't give a fuck if people think it's racist to say that or not. There's just too many people doing that shit. It needs to stop. If it was up to me, I'd just go out there with a fucking hose, man. They shouldn't even have that shit. And be like, no, you guys, if it was me, I would shut that parade down. Like, fuck no, you guys come out on the street. We got kids going to school, and you guys already like destroyed school buses, and so you've already proven that that's how you're gonna act. Fuck no parade. That's what I'd be like. It's just complete ignorance. Pondering this, it's commendable that French did that, but let's stop the behavior. I kind of look at it as PR 100%. 100%, that's what it is. Because what's the point of going on camera, right? You want to help the guy. Give him the 70. Why do you need to let us all know that? In fact, I would venture to say that 99% of the people that look at this did not know the story of that guy before this. And then I'll say 50% of the people didn't know who French Montana was, including myself. So 100%. It's a commercial for French Montana. And yeah, you know, and for people that know how to monetize clicks and views, that's what it is, you know. His stock goes up. Yeah, 100. 100. He dated Khloe Kardashian too. Oh, wow. And he survived, huh? That would be one family I would not want to date into. That's for damn sure. I'd get chewed up and spit out in that family. This is a some type of I don't know if it's Palantir or what Russia has, but their anti-drone technology. They're getting bombed right now by Ukraine, I think. You know, it's crazy if we say like Russia, Ukraine, Israel. I want to know who these people are. Say, oh, Russia is getting bombed by Ukraine. Well, yes and no. Russia is getting bombed by Ukraine, but really, when you say Ukraine, who is launching those missiles? Who is calling? You know what I mean? And I bet you if we could find out, it's all the same people. It's not Russia, Israel, China. It's just a group of people that control the world. The Rothschilds, the people that we just don't know who they are. Anyway, these guys are recording this, and they're having a good time in Russia. They're just built differently.
Ебаться в рот! Это эпично. Да ну нахуй. Куда я попал, нахуй? Я уже садовода, нахуй. Садовода, да. Мини-панцири рабочие. Блядь. Документация. В Call of Duty какой-то попали. Братишка, да плохо. Я не хочу сегодня работать. Блядь.
So that's not good because it's not just one isolated incident. It's basically war. He was spit out. Yeah, that's what happens to them guys. Kanye too. But I don't know if you've seen the video, Grateful, of the explosion where it took the roof off, the dome off. Check this out. This is like this is literally like out of a movie. I would bet my bottom dollar this was AI. But I mean, it still could be AI, but as far as I know, this is a real story. So, I mean, that is just absolutely insane and scary. Here is what Rob McCoy, you know, this is Mikey McCoy's dad, the fake pastor. This is what he thinks of Candace Owens and those of us that listen to Candace Owens.
Salem witch trials. In 1692, 19 people were killed, 19 too many, but they continued on in Europe and thousands died. Folks, Candace is the judge. She just throws out whatever she thinks. Oh, I'm just asking questions. Yeah, but when you're saying somebody murdered somebody, oh no, I'm just asking, you've gone beyond that. She's the judge. And you know what the jury is? All the ignorant people watching her program, buying it. Judge, jury, and you know who the executioner is? It could be one of 100 people who've threatened my life or my son's life or Erica's life. My son was there when Charlie was murdered, and now he was at the Hilton in DC and had to get Erica out as another gunman came in. You want to be a part of that? Look, no one's perfect, but this is ridiculous. Yes, it is. Turn it off. Go read a book. Educate yourself. And then let's attack Jews. 15 million Jews worldwide. 15 million. 7.5 million live in Israel. The next largest amount is here in the United States, and the rest are scattered throughout Europe and leaving because the persecution is so heavy. We play a game today called 6 Degrees of Separation to blame a Jew for anything. You're like me picking on that kid in the 2nd grade. You found somebody that's easy to pick on, and Jews are easy to pick on. They're peculiar people. I don't get it. They don't like bacon. I don't know why. I can't follow a religion that doesn't like bacon. Bacon is like meat candy.
Yep. Magooch, hello. How are you? So, and the people, she's the judge, and the jury are the ignorant people that follow her. Well, here's the thing. If it wasn't a complete kangaroo court, and our FBI wasn't just absolutely lying and covering this up, and a complete joke, there would be no need for somebody else to figure out the truth about what happened, right? I mean, that's the bottom line. If the truth is that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk with the 30-06 from the rooftop of the Losi Center, then prove it. And why are you even worried about it, Mr. Rob McCoy? Why are you so worried about it? Just let it play out. Let her talk. Who cares? Let the judge and the prosecutor and the defense hash it out. They're not watching the podcast. They're not going to be swayed by what Candace says. Who gives a fuck what we think? Why are you so worried about it? And again, the only reason why these guys are like a hornet's nest. Every time you get close to something, they all swarm. They all come out and start attacking. And it's because of the exploding microphone. Because that is what happened. How you doing, Magooch? I got another one from this guy.
I'm 61. I was ready to retire. I want to drink with an umbrella on a beach somewhere. And then Charlie got murdered, and I've never been busier in all my life. And I'm doing it for you guys. I got a smooth runway home, but it's your world I'm fighting for. And Charlie spoke at my gala, and Charlie's directive to me was he wanted me to go start Turning Point Israel. And so that was the plan when I stepped aside and let the assistant pastor take over the church that I pastored for 25 years.
So he was going to retire at 61. All he wants is a drink and an umbrella. He wants a drink in his hand with an umbrella on a sandy beach somewhere. He's just going to retire. But he's doing this for the people he's talking to. They need his help. They need to be saved. And also, he was going to retire, but also he was going to start Turning Point Israel. It all makes so much sense. You're going to retire, but you're going to start Turning Point Israel. Okay, whatever. Who fucking retires at 61 anyways? Unless you're fucking rich. And how do you get rich as a pastor? Don't know. They're all worried about the microphone theory. Thought I had more videos than this, but he was hacked. Oh, yes. Dan Bongino. We got to listen to him again. He just put this cryptic message out.
The closer you get to God, the harder the devil works on you. Well, the devil's working overtime now. He's cashing in that OT check. Probably spreading the wealth around too. Folks, something else is going to happen. Now, if this is the last show I do or Erica or anyone else, I just want it on the record that I was on I was on the right side of this. And by the right side, I don't elevate myself or my character above you or anyone else. I just mean like the non-demon side.
He sounds, God, he just sounds so, like, speaking of being ran through the ringer, that guy sounds like he's been ran through the ringer. Like he cries at night, fits of rage, like punching at the mirror, acting like he's screaming at people. Like, I mean, I think this guy does it all. Like he is straight psycho. And his major problem is that at one point he thought everybody loved him, that that he was so important, that so many people fall into that trap that they think that they're more important than they are, that people, everybody wants to listen to what I say. No, the fuck they don't. Not all the time, and if you're not sitting there spitting facts and helping people in their own personal life, why would they want to listen to you? Most people don't care what you say. You know what I mean? Like, but when you become a traitor on the level that he did with the Charlie Kirk thing and the things he said to us, the demeaning things he called all of us and Candace, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of hard to even just wrap your head around, like, where we were at right before the election and where we're at now. Well, I mean, it's been like this for quite a while now, almost a year. It's wild, but this guy is not a happy man. He does not, he's probably going to go to hell. Like his soul is crushed. That's the problem. That's why I always say, be careful where you get your money. Be careful, just, it's not always about what you deem as success is really success. Life is long, or life is short, but life is wide. This guy he got gold rush fever and it didn't work out for him. And he still has his life to live and his soul is crushed. It's so obvious. I'd much rather be in my spot where I don't have anything, not a pot to piss in, but I have my soul intact. Because you can always make money, you can always work hard, you can always, who knows, you might live till tomorrow, you might live another 50 years, who fucking knows. But once you lose your soul, you cannot get it back. Once you do certain things in life, there's no coming back from them. And it's easy to see the people that cross that line. I can look at myself in the mirror. This guy cannot. This guy can't look at himself in the mirror. That's why he has to attack everybody else. And he has to make the situation seem so dire, because that's the only way he can elevate his spirit. I mean, look at him. There's a dead man walking right there.
The closer you get to God, the harder the devil works on you. Well, the devil's working overtime now. He's cashing in that OT check. Probably spreading the wealth around too. Folks, something else is going to happen.
And the weird thing about it, the wild thing about this, these are not just podcasters. This dude was about as high level as you can get in the government. Deputy FBI director. That is as high, that's as much access as you can get without being like off the chart where we don't know who they are. I mean, that's presidential level shit. And here he is talking like this. You know what I mean? This dude had high level security clearance. Him and Castell want to have the key to the, they know what's in the Epstein files. They're the ones that have them. It's the FBI. And these are the people that we have in our government. Why don't we just run our own government? I mean, we're all more mentally stable than this fucking kook. But what does he mean when he says something else is going to happen? Like what? Another Charlie Kirk? You know what I think he's talking about? I think he's talking about Trump. I honestly do. I think if Trump is turning on these guys, he's turning on all of them. They're all in it together, obviously. Trump was a different man until the Butler assassination attempt. Then he pivoted and he just became a different guy, you know. He lied his way through the campaign, and then as soon as he got elected, he just fucking started doing their bidding. But it's got to the point now to where we're all just like, fuck you. Everybody woke up. We're like, no, man, fuck this shit. Fuck this shit. And they can hear us. So, and that's why you have Hillary Clinton on now and the Obama. Everybody's trying to play damage control. They don't want to lose the country. You know?
Donald Trump. I can barely even talk about him anymore.
Yeah.
I am so sick of his stupidity, of his dishonor, of the way he talks about people, the way he, as you said yesterday, the way he presents himself to children out in the world, the way he curses and swears about people, the fact that he's so incompetent at what he does, the fact that these Republicans stick by him no matter what.
The fact that he's grifted so much from the American people.
And you know what? By the way,
dollars.
where is this Iranian deal? Is it with his college transcripts that we never saw, or his tax returns that we never saw?
how many times-
Why are Americans putting up with this? Come on. I'm so tired of.
Ugh, I can't stand those women. You know, talking about everything but what you should be talking about. You know, I don't listen to those guys. I wonder if they ever touch on the Charlie Kirk thing. It's like they'll attack Trump, but they don't talk about Andrew Colvett and those guys. I don't know. Anyway, those are all the videos I have. So I'm gonna end it there. I'm gonna go get something to eat. And this guy is never ending with the banging today. So grateful. I appreciate you hanging out on the gooch. You guys have a great day. And we will talk to y'all soon. Stay safe out there. According to Dan Bongino, something else is going to happen.